Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Clamp Podcast. Today, we welcome Xavier Moon for an interview. Xavier is a highly decorated player, being an MVP of the CEBL 3 times and having the MVP trophy designed after him. He's played in numerous NBA games and it's played at all different levels. So, how are you doing, Xavier?
Hey, I'm alive, so I can't complain.
Two-time Finals MVP
Yeah,
too.
two-time Finals MVP.
Two-time
That's
Finals.
just, a short list of his accolades. So let's start it off. So, let's start from your childhood. So when you were growing up, did you always want to be an NBA player? Was that your goal in life?
No, not for real. I actually played every sport growing up. I didn't just play basketball. I played football. And I didn't really fall in love with the game of basketball until I got to high school, probably like my ninth grade year.
Really? Yeah. Did you think like you could probably take? Sorry to cut you off. Did you think that you could take like football to the next level?
I never really tried. Like I just played because I didn't want to sit around waiting on basketball season. So that's pretty much what I played, and all my homeboys played football, so I just played to be out there with them.
For sure, yeah.
So growing up, I mean, for me, in my journey to the NBA, because we know I'm making it to the league for sure. For me, it's been Kyrie Irving, who's been the player I've been looking up to. For you growing up, was there a specific player that you really saw as a role model?
I watched Chris Paul all the time. That was probably like the main player that I watched from the time he went to Wake Forest to the New Orleans Hornets, and then obviously I watched him with the Clippers, and now with the Suns. And another player would be my uncle. Obviously, my uncle played in the league too, so he was somebody I looked up to.
Yeah. Did he give you a lot of motivation to go to the NBA at one point in your life?
Yeah, he did. Because when he made it to the league, I was in middle school. And then like 2 years after that, that's when I really started taking basketball serious. So I'm like, damn, he made it to the league, so I feel like I can do the same thing.
For sure. So at what point in your career do you think was your actual turning point to become a pro? Like, when did you really put your head down and say, I'm determined to get to the league?
Probably when I first became a pro. I never really looked too far ahead. Not in high school, not even in college. When I signed that first pro contract, and I'm like, man, like I got a lot of work to do, but I feel like, I mean, all I got to do is just keep my head down, keep working, and eventually something will pay off. Like I'll get there somehow, some way. Like I don't care how long it takes. So I feel like once I became a pro, then that's when it really became a realization that I can make it to the league.
For sure, for sure.
And can you talk about kind of when making that jump as a basketball player, kind of the gap between the level in high school and college? Because we know at Northwest Florida State, you average 4.5 points per game as a freshman, 7.7 points per game as a sophomore. But then you made the switch. You transferred to a Moorhead State, where you averaged 10.2 games in junior year and 16 points per game as a senior. So first of all, what school, but also what system do you think really fit you as a player?
It just takes time, and obviously you grow year by year. You learn more. You become stronger. You become smarter. So I feel like it depends on the vets that you have on your team. Obviously, my first year as a freshman, I had a lot of guys who had already played Division I level, and they came back down to play junior college. Because at the time, if you played Division I and you wanted to transfer, you had to go down to junior college to be able to transfer to another Division I. So I had a lot of guys who already had 1, maybe 2 years Division I under their belt already. So I learned a lot from those guys my first 2 years. And then once I got to Moorhead, I found myself becoming a vet because I had already been through it my first 2 years. So I feel like I fit the role perfectly coming into Moorhead my junior and senior year.
Yeah. Do you think like college basketball is more systematic as high school? More guys got like the green light to just shoot all the time and kind of have to have like a role in college?
Yeah, college is definitely more systematic. Depending on what college you go to and who you are as a player. Obviously, you got certain guys that can do whatever they want to, but a lot of college teams, man, you have to fit. You have to fit within the system. If you can't play within that system, then that's not going to be the school for you.
Yeah, for sure. Can you describe your experience going undrafted in 2017? Did that really give you like a chip on your shoulder to, make it to league one day?
It's crazy because I never even entered the draft. So
Oh,
I don't know.
really?
Yeah, I don't know. It
Oh
said,
yeah, we looked it up and it
yeah,
said you went undrafted. Yeah, we gotta fix that then.
I never entered the draft. Like I've
Oh, that's
I've had
crazy.
I had the question asked quite a few times, but I never entered the draft. I went straight overseas. I
Yeah.
signed after I graduated in May. I signed a pro contract in like June or July, and I left in going to France. So I never even entered the draft.
Yeah, they have that wrong on the internet.
So signing that pro contract though, in June, was the idea to eventually make the jump to, the G League or the NBA?
At that point, man, I was just happy to become a pro. Like I had been working just for that title for so long. So to sign that first contract, I didn't care where it was. As long as I was getting paid to play basketball, then I felt like I had accomplished at least one of my goals on my list.
Right. And, you know, since after following college, you played all over the world. Can you kind of describe that experience of where the game has taken you and, where, what league did you play in that you personally found most difficult to thrive in? I mean, obviously the CEBL, you accomplished a lot in, but what league do you think really helped you grow as a player? What was most difficult?
I think the most difficult part was my first year out of college, going to France.
Yeah.
It was a big culture shock for me because I had never been out the country by myself. So to be in France 8, 9 months by myself, didn't speak French, and nobody over there wanted to speak English. So it was a big culture shock. But I think my first year in France actually prepared me for like the next 3 years of my career. I ended up going to Israel. And I feel like I learned so much in France that once I got to Israel, it was easy for me to deal with. Obviously, a lot more people spoke English, but I actually got to Israel and I embraced the culture for what it was instead of trying to make it America. Because I feel like that's where a lot of players mess up at. They want to go overseas and expect it to be quote unquote Americanized when all you have to do is embrace the culture for what it is, man. I feel like you will enjoy it better. And obviously playing here in Canada, like that made me who I was, from the NBL to the CBL. Um, I'm grateful for both of those leagues, regardless of what I accomplished in all of them. I'm grateful for both of them.
For sure. So when you made your NBA debut against the Nets, like what emotions were you going through? Like, were you overjoyed? Was it like same old, or like what were you feeling? Yeah.
Uh,
Was it like just another game or?
yeah, I think I had more emotions when I got the news than when I played my first game. But once they told me that I was signing my 10-day, I think that was probably the most emotions I felt my whole career. But stepping in the game for that first time, there was no emotion, like no adrenaline, no, I wasn't anxious, nervous, none of that, because I felt like I was supposed to be there. So like once I got that first opportunity, man, I was just happy that it came when it came.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, you know, Xavier, there is definitely no lack of star power that you have been around. I remember back in that January game, you were going up against guys like Kevin Durant, James Harden. However, as you start this season, as a Clipper, you're starting with healthy stars with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. With these experiences, has there been a certain player on the court that you feel like, okay, this guy's going to really help me work on my game with all of his greatness?
Obviously P and Kawhi, like them being as great as they are, but the person that I gravitated toward the most was Reggie Jackson.
Sure.
And that just came off his energy, like because when I first got there, he was in COVID protocol, so he missed like the first 2 or 3 games once I got there. And once he got back and he walked in the locker room and his energy changed everything. So I feel like we gravitated toward each other. And he's somebody that I work with a lot when I'm back in LA. So I feel like I've learned a lot from him, not only as a player, but as a person too.
Yeah, I mean, talking about systematic basketball, him in LA has really fit him compared to like previous teams in like Detroit or something, where he's really just thrived in the LA offense and defense.
Facts. I think that's the perfect role for him.
Sure.
Being at the point distributing, but also being one of the main guys. Not just relying on Kawhi and PG, but I feel like Reg is probably like their third piece. And now that we've added John Wall,
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like he'll take a lot of pressure off of Reg, and Reg will just be able to play his game throughout the whole season. If we stay healthy, man, I like us.
For sure.
Really,
Where do you see the Clippers ending up this season?
shit, if we stay healthy, I feel like we can win. Like I honestly feel like that. Like I said, man, we brought in John. We pretty much signed everybody back. So I got us.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've got some good centers too. I mean, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I would say what examples of adversity throughout your life do you feel like advance you not only as a person but also as a basketball player?
Being cut. A lot of people don't understand like the magnitude of being cut, especially when you feel like you worked your whole life to be where you are. A lot of basketball players don't have the experience that. Playing overseas, like that's adversity. You're away from home 8 to 10 months out of the year, without any breaks. Like you're not getting a chance to come home for Christmas, Thanksgiving, none of that type of stuff. So I feel like you making those sacrifices, man, just to play the game that you love. And players in the States or players that's playing in the NBA or in the G League don't understand that. So until you've been in somebody's shoes that's played overseas or that's been over there multiple years, like 5+ years, you will never understand what it's like to be overseas by yourself most of the time. Because when you start out, you don't have a family. Like you don't have kids, you don't have a wife, you don't have none of that. So once you start out overseas by yourself, man, it's a lot to get adjusted to. But I feel like if you can play overseas, then you can play anywhere.
Yeah. Do you think like going overseas, and is there like a big differential between the NBA and overseas? Because I mean, Luka went public saying that it's stronger basketball, it's more contact overseas. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The NBA is, I hate to say it, but the NBA is soft.
Really?
Obviously, you got like the 3-second rules, offensive and defensive. Overseas, you don't have that. Like it's harder to score because you got people just standing in the paint. It's FIBA rules, so you can smack the ball off the rim, like all that type of stuff. It makes the game a lot different, and it makes it a lot harder to score. So that's why I feel like it's so easy for Luka to score in the league. Because if you play EuroLeague since you were 17, 18, once you get to the league and you got that much space, man, you can do whatever you want to.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, what would you describe yourself as a player? Like, what are your key attributes and all that? Like, what do you bring to the table?
Obviously, speed, experience, whether that's in the league or not. I can shoot, pass, dribble, pretty much everything within the modern game. But I'm a playmaker, not only on the offensive end, but the defensive end as well. Getting guys involved, picking up full court, like all that type of stuff. So I feel like I bring quite a few things to the table.
I think we could definitely see your playmaking when we were watching some of the Agua Caliente or Ontario games this past season. You know, you're definitely knocking down threes with the downtown Ontario, but you know, you were very efficient, and you know, driving into the basket, your speed, you showed that off. But I gotta ask about the Ontario Clippers. You guys had a very strong season last year. You know, you had really good players such as Keaton Wallace, you know, Cameron Edwards. What's the mentality going into this season for Ontario?
Just trying to rebuild and get back to where we were last season. Once I found out that was our first time making it to the finals or the Western Conference Finals, the playoffs in itself, I was like, man, that's crazy. Like we've been around for how long? 5, 6 years, and that's the first time we made it to the playoffs. So I feel like, I mean, we're only gonna get better. As long as they continue to put the time and the work in to building the right team, I feel they can go as far as they wanted to.
For sure. What do you think? I mean, we're talking about the key differences throughout the podcast, but like between the G League and the NBA, like is there much difference? Like, it's American basketball. You don't have language barrier. It's a lot of other factors. It's very similar. Is there much difference?
It's very similar, but the key difference that I found out by playing in the G League is just the IQ. I found out like why a lot of players play in the G League 5+ years, or they're there like longer than they expect to be. Even the guys that's averaging like 25, 26 points a game, like once you make it to the league, that's not going to be your role on the NBA team. Every NBA team already has a superstar, so you have to figure out whatever G League team you playing on. That NBA team, you have to figure out what they need, and whatever they need, you have to try to fit that role. Like you can't go into a G League season saying I'm gonna average this when you don't even know what the team need. They might not need you to average 20, 25. They might need you to come in and be a facilitator, which is why you should be watching NBA games. So I figured that out, like playing there. A lot of guys just want to go there and try to get stats or just want to try to score the ball, but it's a lot more to the game than just putting the ball in the hole.
I think that's definitely true. All about, fitting that role, what the team needs you to do. And as a point guard, that's especially your role. Xavier, we can't thank you enough. Thank you for providing us this insight into the game. It's been a pleasure. And maybe the next time we'll be talking to you, we might be talking to a NBA champ, Xavier Moon.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to see.
We're gonna speak it into existence, man. Next time we talk, I have a ring on my finger, and
All right.
Perfect.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Xavier.
No problem, man. I appreciate it.